In the busy town of Ojota, there stood a little hair salon called Ngozi's Touch. It wasn't a fancy place, just a small shop painted in bright yellow with posters of women showing off their beautiful hair. But it was always full. The hair inside was filled with the smell of hair creams. The women would sit for hours, chatting and waiting for their turn. Ngozi, the owner, was the best hairstylist in the entire area. Everybody knew her. Her fingers moved quickly, twisting and braiding hair like magic. It didn't matter if the hair was thick, short, thin or long. Once Ngozi touched it, she would turn it into something beautiful. People came all over just to sit in her chair. Her braids were always neat, tight, and perfect. Her hands were fast, and no one ever left her salon unhappy. In fact, many would come back with their friends and family, spreading the word about Ngozi's magic hands. But what people didn't know was that there was a secret behind her success. Ngozi wasn't just a regular hairstylist. She had learned something strange many years ago from an old woman named Mama Ijeoma. This old woman had taught her a special way to gather power that came from hair. Every time Ngozi braided someone's hair, she would carefully pick up the little strands that fell in the floor. She would sweep them quickly when her customer wasn't looking, and she would tuck them away in a small bag. To the women who came to her shop, the hair was just something to throw away, but to Ngozi, it was much more. Each night after she closed the salon and everyone had gone home, Ngozi would take the collected hair strands and place them in a small pot of water. But this wasn't ordinary water. It was mixed with special herbs Mama Ijeoma had given her many years ago. As the hair boiled, the steam that filled the room had a strange smell, something almost spooky. After the water cooled, Ngozi would use it to cook her evening meal. The old woman had told her that the magic in the water would make her stronger. Not physically strong, but spiritually stronger. It will give her the power to be the best hairstylist everyone had ever seen. And she believed it. Every time she performed the ritual, more and more customers will flock to her salon, almost like they were being pulled by some invincible force. At first, Ngozi felt strange about it. Chineke, she would whisper, feeling her stomach turn at the thought of boiling hair and eating with the water. But once she saw her business growing, she couldn't stop. Day after day, women would come in praising her work, and night after night, she performed the ritual, boiling the hair and eating the magic it left behind. Everything was going well until one afternoon when Adaora, one of our regular customers, walked into the shop. Adaora was a beautiful woman in her mid-30s with long, thick hair that everyone admired. She smiled as she sat in Ngozi's chair.
Ngozi, I get one wedding tomorrow. I beg, you know wetin to do.
Adaora said with a grin. Ngozi laughed. By the time I finish, dem go think say na you be the bride sef. As usual, Ngozi's finger moved faster, weaving Adaora's hair into perfect neat braid. When she was done, Adaora looked into the mirror and gasped.
Ngozi, Chineke, you don't do am again. My hair fine well oh.
But just as Adaora was about to leave, she bent down to pick up some of the hair that had fallen to the floor. Ngozi's heart started to race. She tried to stay calm. Ah, Adaora, no worry about that one. I go clean am, she said, forcing a smile. But Adaora shook her head.
No, Ngozi, I hear say you no good to leave your hair behind. I always carry my own go house.
Ngozi's smile faded. Ewo. Panic started to raise in her chest. Abeg, Adaora, leave am. Na just hair, she said, her voice shaking a little. Adaora frowned.
Ngozi, na just hair o. Why you dey worry like this?
Before Ngozi would stop her, Adaora had gathered all the strands of hairs from the floor and placed them in a small bag. She smiled, waved goodbye, and left the shop, not noticing the fear in Ngozi's face. As soon as Adaora left, Ngozi collapsed into her chair, her hands trembling. Chimo, reaching for her phone, she quickly dialed Mama Ijeoma's number. Mama Ijeoma, wahala don dey, Ngozi whispered into the phone. What happened? The old woman asked in deep, raspy voice. Adaora carry her hair go house. Wetin I go do? Ngozi's voice was shaking. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. I tell you before, Ngozi, nobody suppose carry their hair comot for your salon. Now you don't break the balance. Ngozi's heart pounded in her chest. Mama, anything wey I fit do? Mama Ijeoma's voice was cold. The consequences don't already start, Ngozi, and once it starts, nothing fit stop am. The line went dead. That night, Ngozi couldn't sleep. The thought of what would happen haunted her. The old woman's warning echoed in her ears, and her hands started to feel heavy, too heavy. And that was just the beginning. The following day, Ngozi opened her salon as usual, but something felt off. Her hands, once swift and sure, felt sluggish and clumsy. She tried to braid her first customer's hair, but her finger fumbled and the hair came out crooked. The woman looked at her reflection in shock. Ngozi, wetin dey happen now? This one no be like your normal work o. The woman exclaimed, pulling away from the mirror to inspect the uneven braids. Ngozi's heart sank. She mumbled, "Sorry, madam," she mumbled, her hands trembling. She quickly undid the braid, trying again, but the result was even worse. As more customers came in, the same thing happened over and over. The once praised hairstylist, known for her perfect braids and quick hands, was now sluggish to even part the hair properly. Complaints started piling up, and soon word spread across Ojota that something was wrong with Ngozi. Adaora, who had taken her hair home the day before, came back into the salon. Her face was pale, and her once beautiful braids were now unrevealing, falling apart at the slightest touch. Ngozi, wetin you do my hair? Adaora asked, her voice filled with worry. E dey fall off o. Ngozi's eyes widened in horror. She stepped back, her own hands trembling as she looked at Adaora's hair. I no sabi wetin dey happen, Ngozi stammered, but deep down she knew. Before she could say anything more, a sharp pain shot through her hands. She gasped and clutched them, realizing that her fingers were swollen, turning red and sore. She couldn't move them. Mama Ijeoma's warning echoed in her mind. The consequences don't already start, Ngozi, and once it starts, nothing fit stop am. Days passed, and Ngozi's salon, once full of customers, became empty. Her hand had become so stiff and swollen that she could no longer braid hair. She tried to reach out to Mama Ijeoma for help, but the old woman had disappeared without a trace. One evening, as Ngozi sat alone as Ngozi sat alone in her empty salon, her hand still itching. Adaora returned. This time, she wasn't angry. She was calm. "I think say I don't sabi wetin you do," Adaora said softly, sitting down across Ngozi. "I hear from market women say you dey use juju carry our head to boost your business." Ngozi hung her head in shame. "I no mean to hurt anybody o. I just wan make my salon grow. I wan be the best." Adaora looked at her, her eyes filled with sadness. "But at what cost, Ngozi? You carry wetin no belong to you. Now we dey pay the price." Tears welled up in Ngozi's eyes. "Ndo, I no know say e go end like this." Adaora reached out and touched Ngozi's hand gently. "Still, you fit make am right. You need stop this magic. You need stop to take wetin no be your own." The weight of her mistake heavy on her shoulders. She knew Adaora was right. She had been so blinded by success that she had lost sight of what really mattered: honesty, hard work, and respect for others. The next day, Ngozi went to the market and brought fresh herbs. But this time, they weren't for magic. She used them to make special oils and creams to help Adaora's hair grow back. She worked tirelessly to fix the damage she had caused. And though it took time, Adaora's hair slowly regained its strength. Ngozi never touched magic again.